Hi, my name is David Choten, and I'm a student in the George Washington University Master's Program for Educational Technology and Leadership. For my needs assessment project, I decided to look at the importance of developing a formal onboarding process for my employer, the Department of Open Learning at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. As an office with several different teams all working on multiple different projects, there's always a lot of information for new employees to learn, not least of which is the structure of the Office of Open Learning, and I wanted to know if a formal process would help new employees to gather that information earlier in their tenure. To conduct my needs assessment, I reviewed the mission statement of Open Learning and interviewed my manager and a senior leader to understand their personal interpretations of the mission and how they wanted new employees to understand it. I analyzed annual report data to understand how Open Learning had developed over recent years and looked at current job postings to understand how many individuals would be affected by a new onboarding process. And finally, I interviewed several relatively recent employees to learn what their onboarding experience had been and how they felt it could have been improved. I learned several important lessons during this process. First was the importance of how the initial question should be defined. It wasn't enough for me to say, should Open Learning have an onboarding process? I needed to make sure that stakeholders weren't simply given a yes or no outcome, but that my results demonstrated the relative importance of that outcome. In other words, it's not enough to say, yes, we should have a process. You need to be able to demonstrate why having a process would benefit the office overall. I would suggest that when you start developing a needs assessment, make sure that all of the stakeholders agree on what the question you are asking really means. The second lesson I learned was about creating a detailed plan for interviews. When you are asking broad questions with open-ended answers, it's easy for subjects to answer several questions at once, or to get off track and spend valuable time talking about subjects that aren't really relevant to your topic. Make sure you introduce the topic appropriately, and have questions that encourage the interviewee to respond freely but remain on topic. Otherwise, your interviews may not provide results that can be used to answer your true question. Finally, it's important to have an open mind going into the process. If you start a needs assessment with a preconceived notion about what the outcome should be, it's easy to unintentionally bias the whole process. You might accidentally write interview questions that encourage a specific answer, or select data sources that you are already familiar with. If you're open to results that you weren't expecting, you can feel much more confident about the final outcome. Thanks for watching, and good luck with the needs assessments you'll be creating in the future.